Yep. Work every day.
Hi.
Cool. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Minutes.
Hi, Bushira. And Carly and Mike. Only
Good morning.
morning. Only Bushira had a photo, so
Can you hear me?
I can. Yes. Can you hear me?
It looked like it froze.
Can you not hear you?
Bushira, can you hear me? Okay.
Said it froze, then whoop.
There we go. Can you hear me?
There you are.
Okay,
Yep.
we got you now. Are we clear on this
Great.
end?
Yep, I can hear. Good morning. all.
Okay. Okay. Cool.
You should hear.
All right, well, hi everybody. Thanks for coming today. Before we get started, one thing I think is always a fun practice is first going around saying our name and one thing we're thankful for the day to start off the practice. So I'll start. My name is Lucas, and today I'm thankful that everyone came for the training today. I'm really happy to see it. So, you want to kick us off, Brock?
Sure. Overall, over the past year, just thankful for Dave Hook. He's been incredible and amazing. Solid guy. So
Okay, around the room, we can do next name and one thing you're thankful for.
My name is Tina, and I am thankful that it is warming up outside today.
yes.
I knew you were gonna take that.
I gotta go for.
My name is Connie. I was going to say that I'm very thankful with warming up today, but I'm very thankful for Kate's time this morning helping me out.
Herman?
Urban?
Herman, sorry.
St. Club, grateful for God waking me up today.
Yes. Kate?
Today is the second day in a row that I waited an hour to get on my phone after I woke up. So I'm grateful.
I'm Jared. Thankful for Ryan challenging me in the ALC.
There we go, Ron.
To do that because I was sitting here.
The warm weather was taken, so.
Bob?
I'm Bob. I'm just thankful for the opportunity to be able to come in and take part in training like this. I mean, this company, this industry, and this office is just adds a lot to my life. So
Well, I'm gonna steal some of that. Tony, just happy to be around a group of people that want to do this.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Hi, I'm Steve. I'm very thankful, especially for Julie at the front desk for all the help and assistance on the onboarding process that I'm going through.
Perfect. Perfect.
Hello, I'm Michael, and I'm thankful for Greg and Julie helping me out throughout the whole process as I'm just starting out.
Awesome. Thanks for doing it with me, guys. I thought that was fun. So, okay,
Miss Ryan.
Ryan, you want to hit us? What are you thankful for?
I'm thankful for the 243 amazing agents that want to call Keller Williams their burger of choice. We've had tremendous growth because of you guys and created an amazing culture here.
Awesome.
And you. Just kidding. Sorry. Just introducing your name and one thing you're thankful for to start off the day.
Patient. Thankful for many teams. It's my first year in the United States. They're teaching me a lot. I'm thankful for
So, thanks. Okay, guys. So today the training is kind of focused on some techniques and skills that I've picked up over the last couple of years of doing real estate that helped me in my last year to sell $10 million, slightly over $10 million in real estate. Yeah, and some of the mindset changes that I took on that helped me do that, some of the practices that I found to be best to scale my business and accomplish that kind of volume. So the first analogy I want to start us off with, and actually I'll back it up a space here. So I tried to make training as easy as possible for today. So if we finish, early, we'll finish early. That's great. And I'm never great at taking notes. So I actually wrote all the notes you guys will have to take ahead of time. You can take more, of course, but they're going to be our writer-downers is what I want to call them. Okay, so I'll keep coming back to a writer-downer. And if you're a new thinking person, I would just recommend that at the very least, you do not miss any of the writer downers. Okay, because that's what we're going to cover today. Okay, do we like that? The writer downers?
This is fabulous.
Cool. Okay. Okay, yeah, I hate taking notes. So these are your notes for you. We'll start off with our first analogy. We'll play a little Pictionary. Does anybody want to guess what this is?
Magnifying glass?
Hey, okay, all right. So I was drawing okay this morning. Yes. So the reason I want to start with the magnifying glass is in real estate, there's no direction that's just given to you. You get your license and you're told, have at it. The world is yours. So it's very easy for us to not act like a magnifying glass, or at least not use our magnifying glass correctly. And what happens if we use the magnifying glass the right way? What are we doing with the light? Or I don't know, I don't want to burn ants, but how would you use that magnifying glass the right way? You got to focus the beam into one spot so that it's most effective. Okay, are you guys with me?
Yeah.
So that's the analogy. If we're not focusing your magnifying glass, you're not going to get any results because you're spread out too thin. Okay, so it kind of comes to another thing that I've heard in real estate a lot, which is instead of going a mile wide and an inch deep, you want to go an inch wide and a mile deep. Okay, so that's kind of where I'm going today. Okay, so we want to turn you into a useful magnifying glass that is focusing all of your energy into one point so that you're most effective. Okay, and so that'll bring me to our first writer downer. Okay, which is you are a magnifying glass, focus your beam. Okay, okay, you are a magnifying glass, and your job is to focus your beam, because if you don't, you're not going to get any results. Okay, we got that covered. Yeah, so ultimately, our job is to realize what is noise in the industry, what is just noise, and what should we actually focus on that's going to generate income in our pockets and sales on the scoreboard at the end of the year. Okay. So that brings me to the next topic, which is the real estate sales funnel. Okay. So a big unlock for me last year, because honestly, the first couple of years I did real estate, I didn't do anything that incredible. I sold, ballpark like 20 houses or so, sometimes a little less. Last year was really like a breakthrough year for me. It was the best year I did by far. And a big unlock for me was just thinking about it, my real estate business as a sales business. Okay. Which I know doesn't feel super great, but at the end of the day, it's what we are. We're salespeople. And so for me, thinking about my job as a sales job really helped me ultimately get more sales. Okay. So with the real estate sales funnel, what's most important is when we get a closing, because that's when we get paid. We all love a closing. But where does a real estate transaction start? Does anybody know? In your real estate sales funnel, where does a transaction actually start?
With the referral.
First contact.
Introduction meeting, yeah.
Okay.
First conversation.
Yes.
Attempted contact.
Attempted contact. Yep. I like it. So we're talking about the right thing. I want to make sure we're going far back enough, and it starts with a conversation. That is the very first thing in your real estate sale. No matter what sale you did, that I guarantee was the first step, was a conversation. Okay. So we're gonna write that up top. I'm just gonna do convo because it's easier. So convo is the first step. What's the next step in your sales funnel as a real estate agent?
A meeting.
A meeting. Perfect. Perfect. So we go from convo to, we're going to call it an appointment. APPT set. Actually, I got ahead of myself. Appointment set comes later. Appointment set comes later. Sorry. I got too excited. It's console. There's actually another step. It's being missed. What are we missing? So conversation, before I set a consultation with someone or a meeting, there's actually a step in the middle. Okay, and that step is a lead. I'm not going to set a consult with just anybody, I mean at the supermarket or whoever. I want to set a consult with someone who's actually a lead, which means they have motivation, they have a time frame, and there's a like a want and a drive. It's not someone who's just like, yeah, maybe I'll sell a house in a couple of years or something. That's not who I want to set my consults with. So I have a little bit of a disqualifying process to find out who's really a lead. So that's actually your next step is lead. So I start with conversations. I use those conversations to figure out who is a lead and who isn't. The next step would be we set an appointment with our leads. Okay? You guys with me?
Yep.
Okay. Conversation, we find leads, we set appointments with their leads. What's the next step?
Have the appointment.
Have the appointment. Appointment had, correct. Okay, after we have the appointment, what is the next step in our sales funnel?
Luke, just to backtrack a little bit, I think most people look at it as qualifying the lead, but I love what you said as disqualifying the lead. And I work with Lucas every day, and Lucas is like an expert at disqualifying leads, to be very conscious of his time. It's not about looking for every single person who might be interested. He's going in and basically asking like reverse questions to really disqualify them to get a really good quality lead at the end of the day. You don't want to be sitting down for appointments with someone who hasn't been qualified, and by default, you have to disqualify a lot of people to get to that qualified notion.
Yeah, thank you, Brock. Thanks for diving into that. And it kind of dives back to the magnifying glass analogy. If I'm spending all of my time meeting with people who I don't have a high likelihood to convert, it's going to mess with my numbers. I'm going to need to do more appointments than I actually would have to get the same amount of closings. And it's just going to spread me too thin. So what Brock's talking about is a great point. It's about disqualifying people because everyone's going to seem like an opportunity. Okay, so our sales funnel so far, they all start with a conversation. Through the conversation, we find out if they're a lead or not. Once we have leads, we're looking to set appointments with them and then have appointments. The very next step is we got to sign them. We got to get a contract signed with them. Okay. So if I meet with people and I'm never getting contracts signed, I'm never ensuring my income as an agent. And to go a step further, I haven't adequately communicated my value to that client because I was too uncomfortable to get them to sign a contract saying that they're comfortable working with me. Okay, does that make sense? That's a good way of looking at it. So the very next thing is we're going to get them signed. Okay, and if my spelling's ever off, I'm not very smart. So, so we get them signed. What's after we get them signed? So that could be buyer, seller, it's a listing contract or a VAC. Next checkpoint in your sales funnel.
Would it just be taking whatever action is entailed by the contract, I guess?
So you know, of course, yes, we're going to have to start doing things for the client, servicing them. We're not going to call that a checkpoint in your sales funnel, but we're going to do those things to get them to what? What is the end goal? We want to get them under contract. Yes. So we get them signed saying that they agree that they're going to work with us, that our value proposition was right. The very next thing I'm looking to get them to do is to get them pending or under contract. Pending. Okay. And then of course we get to close, which is where we all get paid. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. I know this is basic for people who've been in the business, but I wanted to cover it because if you don't have a clear idea on what this funnel is, you're not going to have a clear idea, first of all, on where your leads are and what your next step should be. So you don't really have clarity on how you direct them to the finishing line. And then the other thing is we're going to use this funnel to actually predict the exact amount of money you want to make in a year and actually have control over your income as a real estate agent. Like how great would that be if I could control the fact that I get 2 closings every single month versus just kind of guessing and hoping that people are going to come and bring me business. Right? Okay. So we covered sales funnel. We went over every step of the sales funnel. Now, out of this sales funnel, any single closing you're ever going to have with a real estate agent, that consumer to some degree is going to go through every single step. Okay, even if you're not really doing a consult, on some level, you're going to have to talk to them about the market and get them signed to move forward. So even if you're not following a system, your clients are being put through this system. Now, the thing about being an agent is, sorry, can everyone see this? Okay. The thing about being an agent is we don't have control over every part of the sales funnel. Okay. Does anyone have an idea what and only part we do have control over in that sales funnel?
Having the conversation.
Having the conversation. Yes. Yes. Thank you. The only thing I can control is how many conversations I have over the year. You know, I can't force people to go pending. I can't force people to sign with me. I can't even force people to be a lead. That's a terrible idea. Because as much as you'll try to make them a buyer or a seller, you know, a man convinced of against his own will is of the same opinion still, right? So the only thing I can really brute force to generate income for me is the conversations that I'm having. Okay, does that make sense? So I want us to take a minute. Let's brainstorm as a group. What are some of the ways that you guys are currently going out and having real estate related conversations in an attempt to generate leads? What are some of the methods that you guys are using to generate real estate conversations in the hope to find the leads? You can just shout them out.
Sellers.
Perfect.
So
Mailers, 100%. Great form of marketing. Anything else?
Database.
Database? Cold calling? Perfect. Perfect. Anything else?
Houses.
Open houses? FSBOs? Yep. Expireds? What about social media? Yeah, that's the way I can generate conversations with people about real estate.
Sphere.
Sphere, yep, database, the sphere of influence. Is there anything we're missing?
Zillow, paid leads.
Zillow, paid leads,
Yep.
Google pay-per-click. So there's so many different ways I can control the amount of real estate conversations I'm having on a day-to-day, week-to-week, month-to-month, yearly basis. Does that make sense? Okay. Now what I want to cover next, all those methods we just talked about, you know, for having these real estate conversations, if you notice, they actually started turning into different lead sources, right? We had open house, database, expired, FSBO, social media. These are all lead sources, okay? Now, all lead sources are broken down into 6 different types of leads. Okay, did you guys know that? And it doesn't matter what kind of lead you have, we can fit them into one of 6 different buckets. Okay? Before I cover that, I think I missed the writer downer. I'm gonna cover this one. I'm gonna jump ahead a little bit here. So I'm gonna touch on this writer downer. You cannot hit your bottom of funnel target without knowing your top of funnel numbers. Okay, we're gonna come back to that, but I just wanted to touch that. Okay. So we're getting into lead types. Any lead that I have, I can put them into one of these 6 categories, and they're all a little bit different. So number 1, we have unpaid outbound. So what that means, outbound means that I am initiating that conversation with whoever that person is. I'm the one reaching out to them. The unpaid part talks about the fact that I wasn't paying money to reach out to them. Okay, so it's free outreach. The benefits to this is it's free and it's sweat equity as a real estate agent. Anybody can do unpaid outbound and get results from it. There's no upfront cost. It's just a matter of how much you want to put into it work-wise. Okay, so unpaid outbound, this would be your cold calling FSBOs, calling expireds, door knocking for your open house. Those are all unpaid outbound. Okay, so number 2, it makes sense we'll cover paid outbound. So I'm still initiating contact. I'm reaching out to the lead first, or the prospect first, but I had to pay to get that information and to get the ability to maybe reach out to them. So probably best example for paid outbound would be Google pay-per-click. You know, so I'm paying for people's information, but then it's on me to reach out to them initially. Is everybody with me? Okay, and you could probably think of a couple other sources that would be like a paid outbound, right? Now, paid outbound is great because it's a pay-to-play game. If you're sitting on a stack of cash and you put it into your paid outbound, and you wait the average conversion time, which we're talking maybe 6 to 18 months, this can be a great model for you because it's like a money printing machine. The more money you put in, as long as you're touching and servicing those people, you're gonna get money out. The downside to this lead source is, of course, the cost. If you don't have money to be putting into that lead source and getting people's information and reaching out to them for, gosh, at least 6 months without getting a sale, it may not be the right option for you. Okay, because the truth is there's a long time to convert these leads. And if you can't weather that storm financially in your business, I would avoid it because you're gonna get sold on so many people calling you, telling you gotta pay for these leads, this, and that. It takes longer to convert than you would think. Maybe only like 7% of them are gonna convert. So you just gotta be aware of what that model really is, I think, before you get into it. Okay, any questions on that? Does that make sense? Okay. Next lead source, SOI, or we'll call it database. So the people that you know that are warm, welcome and might send you referrals, but we're gonna call SOI its own thing. No real downsides to SOI. Everybody loves SOI. It's free, it's predictable. The issue that I had as a new real estate agent was the truth was my SOI wasn't that big because I was kind of a younger kid. I didn't go to high school. I didn't have a lot of friends. And even if I did, they're not like the buying, selling age, So if you don't have a huge SOI already that you can count on giving you business next month, and you want a commission check next month, I would divert focus into other areas. While I'm still going to do this, but I'm not going to totally count just on SOI yet. At this stage of my business, I can't. It might be different for you, but just kind of talking out pros and cons. Okay. Okay. 4, we have unpaid inbound. So different than outbound. Inbound is when people are reaching out to me, right? Which is, oh gosh, we love inbound. Isn't that great? So unpaid inbound, the best example would probably be social media. Okay, because I'm not paying anything. And by putting content out there for free, I can get people to reach out to me, right? Social media, I mean, this is huge. You hear everybody online, they're talking about you got to have your own brand, which is great. I support it. But what they don't tell you is it's on average, it's going to take a year of posting consistently, like multiple times a day, before you're going to have a reliable source of income with your brand and your social media. And then the other thing that they don't tell you is when you do start getting business from it, they're basically all buyers. If you're truly getting social media outreach, new people that you did not know, and they're reaching out to you, they're primarily buyers. Raise your hand if that's true. Kate, you know it. Yes. Yep. And Kate, do you prefer working with buyers or sellers if you had to pick? Sellers. Why is that?
A lot less time.
A lot less time. So your dollar per hour goes up or down? Up by a lot, right? Yes. Yeah.
And less expenses because I'm not driving around all over.
Yes, yes. And they change their mind less often too, right? You guys ever had a buyer and you show them a bunch of houses, maybe you've lost a couple offers, and then out of nowhere they're like, sorry, Lucas, we're gonna rent for another year. And then they go in the witness protection program. You never hear from them. Okay. So those are the downsides with the social media. I get it. It's sexy. You build a brand. It's fun. It takes a lot of time, and the leads you're going to get are going to all be buyers. So just be prepared for that. Okay. We have paid inbound. We love that. That's the mailers. So I'm paying to get mailers out to people, and they're going to reach out to me. Love mailers. They're awesome. Again, though, costs money. It costs a lot of money. I mean, agents who are building businesses off of their paid inbound. So for mailers, for instance, they're sending like tens of thousands of mailers a month. Okay, they're sending out lots of mailers. If you're going to really make this a pillar of your business, there's cost. You got.
And I'll say, because I've done mailers for a period, I don't think it's only, I think it has to be an entire campaign of things.
Yes.
So it's even more expense than the cost of the mailers.
Correct. Yeah, don't think you're sending out one mailer to a neighborhood and you're getting anybody. You got to touch them a couple times to get a couple leads, which is a chance to maybe get an appointment. And who knows if they have a realtor? So I'm not telling you it doesn't work. There's plenty of realtors who are making tens of thousands of dollars a month just off their mailers. But there's pros and cons to everything, right? Okay, another example would be Zillow. Who's a fan of Zillow? I love Zillow, right? No? Come on, guys. It's like $400 a lead. We don't like that. Plus, every time we pay Zillow, we're just getting them one step closer to screwing us over some other way. So that's your paid inbound. Last one would be referral partners. Okay, most real estate agents are not actually making use of a referral partner. Okay, as an agent, once you start doing business, it's important to recognize exactly how valuable your referrals are to other people in the industry. So if you have one favorite lender and you're sending them, who knows, maybe 10, 15 clients a year, and they're closing that many deals, just do some math. What are they making from you every single year? Okay, and is that relationship fair? Are you getting what you're putting into it? Okay, and having real conversations with your trusted professionals about that is one of the highest leverage things you can do as a realtor who is giving business out to other people. Okay, now downsides of referral partners, it takes time. Okay, all these things take time, right? So to build good referral partners, I need to be doing business already because I need to give to get. And I need to do it for a while so that I can set expectations and say, hey, Mr. Man, I've now sent you over the last 2 years 30 clients. I feel like the scale's out of tip, so we need to fix this. Okay. Little side note, little RESPA hack for people who want to get into it. We can't charge certain ways for our referral partners. If you open a marketing company, you can charge for marketing services, and those leads can get compensated differently. So, yeah, it's something to think about. Okay. So, we only have 6 options. If you want to get real estate sales, it comes down to these 6 options, and that's it. Okay, does anyone disagree? Is there anything missing? Any lead types that could fit in a category outside of these? Okay. So the reason I point that out, again, back to the magnifying glass, I could try all of these and kind of dip my toe in the water with all of them and maybe see no results from any of them. Okay, so it's important that we go an inch wide and a mile deep so that we get the best results. Okay, what I would highly recommend, especially for newer agents, is focusing on unpaid outbound to start and grow your business. So we'll give this a circle here. Okay. The reason I recommend unpaid outbound, it really comes down to these 3 reasons here. So number 1, it's free, basically. Okay. Even if you're going to use a dialer system or something fancy, which you don't have to, but if you do, it's very low cost. Okay. And it's not a cost, it's not a cost per lead kind of thing. So it's basically free. Number 2, it's incredibly predictable. Okay, we're going to cover that. For me, predictability is a huge thing in real estate because I've gone times where, I don't know about you guys, but I've gone like 3 months or so without getting paid at times, and that sucks. That kind of hurts. So if I could somehow come up with a way that I know that I'm going to get paid on a consistent basis, like I'm going to opt in for that. It's a lot better. Okay. Last thing is it's scalable. So it's scalable, and I'll put a little side note there. It's scalable to the degree of time that I have, of course, because you're only gonna have so much time to do your outbound. But the way that it's scalable is in such that you are building a pipeline every single day that you're making calls. Because every single day that you're reaching out or doing your door knocking or your unpaid outbound, you're going to be generating leads that aren't ready to do an appointment yet, and they're future business that you don't have to reach out to cold. You get what I'm saying? You're kind of building that pipeline, and that's why it's scalable. If you do this for a year or two, you're eventually not going to have to do your unpaid outbound because you have such a pipeline built and such a referral network going. You don't have to do it anymore. Okay. But we're going to kind of focus on that unpaid outbound today. There's plenty of people who will sell you on, paying inbound, paying outbound, whatever it is, trainings on that. I want to cover the unpaid outbound because it's typically most avoided by real estate agents than any of your other lead sources, even though it's the most predictable, the lowest cost, and one of the more scalable ones. Okay. So why do we avoid it? Why do we avoid unpaid outbound? I'm going to talk specifically about cold calling. Expireds, FSBOs, circle prospect, absentee owners, for rent by owners. Okay, these are all ways that we can generate conversations and future business. But why do we think as realtors, why do we tend to avoid this method of lead generation?
It's uncomfortable.
There we go. Perfect answer. Who wakes up in the morning and says, I want a cold call? Raise your hand.
Jackson does.
Jackson? Are we a cold caller?
Damn, but
It's not.
it is what it is.
You don't wake up in the morning thinking, yeah,
I don't.
You make yourself do it?
I do. It's uncomfortable.
Well, what's your experience been with it so far? Are you getting results out of it?
Yeah, I've closed a few deals off of it, and I have a solid pipeline from that.
Okay.
It works.
There we go.
So Jackson, like, how many deals and what would you say you made from cold calling? Just cold calling bucket.
Cold calling itself, I think I've closed 3 or 4 deals in the past year that I've been doing it.
Yeah.
Which isn't too bad, but I have a solid pipeline.
And maybe made 30 grand.
Yeah, good. Yeah.
So I've ran the numbers on it before. If you're spending 10 hours a week of outbound prospecting and you can get just 5 sales, okay, over the whole year, you're spending 10 hours a week, every week, and you can get only 5 sales out of your outbound lead generation. Does anyone want to guess what your dollar per hour is? Each of those hours lead generating? It's $70 an hour. Who'd be happy if they knew that they were getting paid $70 an hour? Hey, there we go. I love that. That's like degree money. I don't have a degree. And it actually can get a lot higher because the truth is, if you were to spend an entire year truly putting in 10 hours a week, you're going to get a lot better than someone who only gets 5 sales a year from that method of lead generation. Okay, so your dollar per hour, agents who get really good at this method of lead generation, their dollar per hour for prospecting is in like $400 to $500 an hour. Okay, now that's going to take time to get there, but that's the end result. Is the time that you spend in that outbound lead generation is super impactful.
I think the other thing is, which is hard with this specific thing, is consistency for realtors.
Yes.
I think that realtors are a little inconsistent in general, so like they get, well, I was,
Yeah.
that's experience, okay?
Hey.
I'm not judging, like, I was there too. But like, you know, it's like, it's so easy to get off track but you really have to be consistent about it. Like, you know, like specific, like we were talking about Jackson, like he's in here every day. It's like very consistent. So that's why it's successful for him, you know?
They drive an hour to get here, which is crazy.
Well, thank you so, like from the bottom of my heart for bringing that up because it is a great point. And I want to call it, you know, agents are super susceptible to shiny object syndrome. Yep. Because we know what the facts are. We're covering them today. And I'm not the first person who's told you this. I know that. But we still don't do it because we get sold on the shiny objects. I mean, how cool would it be if I could pay Zillow, gosh, $1,000 a month, I'm getting sales? Like, no way. Too good to be true. Thing is, it is. It takes longer to convert those leads than you would think. A smaller percentage of them convert than you would think. And you're spending all your time following up with these people, you know, and people go missing. You never hear from them. They get put in the witness protection program, right? Who's ever had that happen? Okay. So consistency is huge. Consistency is huge. I want to check my writer downers, make sure we're missing anything. Okay.
Well, yeah, looking there, Luke, we went to a Club Wealth, it's like a training company, event, and they said an hour of lead gen every day. This is a guy who sold 1,600 homes in a year, multiple years in a row. Just an absolute rock star. He was like #1 in the nation, I think, for 2 or 3 years running. He said, like you guys said, the consistency is the worst part. And for people that generate for an hour outbound every 5 days a week, you'll make 100 grand a year, and it scales. So if you do it for 2 hours a day, it's 200 grand. 3 hours a day is 300 grand. It's just staying consistent, sticking with it based off the data that they've had.
Now, consistency is a huge part. And the second piece I want to touch on is like part of why we don't like doing that outbound is it's a salesman thing. Like you call, who's ever tried cold calling before? Like who's ever tried it? Okay. Who really liked that experience? Raise your hand. Keep it up.
I don't mind it.
You don't mind it? Yep.
I've never.
But for the most part, right, it's not an enjoyable thing when we're cold calling. Okay. And I think that's a huge reason why we don't get the consistency out of it. Right. It's not fun when I call people up and I'm like, hey, how you doing? This is Lucas with Keller. What, fuck you, get off the phone, right? Like, how am I gonna be Hey Jackson, how am I gonna make them to be excited about that? Who's like get real, right?
Let's tell about the COVID grocery store.
Oh my God. My first year, I was 18, you know, first trying cold calling. I wasn't even licensed for a year. And COVID was happening. I was cold calling. And the guy told me, he's like, gosh, you didn't go to college, did you? Because you sound like an idiot, you know, just tearing me up. And I was like, well, no, I didn't. And he's like, I can tell. He's like, you know what you ought to do? You ought to go to the grocery store and get that COVID. It ought to kill you. That would be good for you.
Nate.
You know, like, yeah, of course I'm not going to wake up and be like, I can't wait to go pep through all these people and get the F off.
You still have his number? Forewarned.
Look, there's another conversation that Brock knows about that we won't even go into, but there, you know, it's just how it is.
Was it Blake?
Here's my office. You come meet me here.
Let's get the address.
So,
Did he show up?
no. Scared him off.
KW Ryan.
Yeah. Okay. So trust me, I'm not coming in here and like laying the hammer down and saying like, I get it. Like, I get why we don't do this form of lead generation, but I cannot deny all the benefits. It's free, it's predictable, and it's scalable. Okay. So am I doing myself a favor or am I harming myself by not doing that? I'm harming myself. Okay. And I'm ultimately hurting myself because I'm not willing to get uncomfortable in order to reach my goal, of making X amount of dollars, selling X amount of homes, whatever it is, being town mayor, whatever. Okay. So the key here, I want to use this phrase here. Sales is slimy. Who agrees that salespeople are slimy people? Yep. Raise your hand. I hate salespeople. Guess what? Every single one of us is. So we gotta change something about that. We're all salespeople here. And so what I want to talk about is the conditioning that every single one of us, including your prospects and clients, has had since the day they were born. Okay, and that what I'm talking about is that salespeople are slimy. You see it in movies, TV, you hear it, you get those calls from people and they're terrible. You get what I'm saying? I treat those people like crap when I get a cold call like that. Okay, so
That's why you had that bad karma.
it is. So I would like fundamentally attack that a little bit though, because there's truth to that. Salespeople are slimy, but I was dramatic like connotation to that. Bad salespeople are slimy. Okay. Now sales, I don't know if you guys, this is a new thing that I learned last year, and part of what changed my mindset, and that mindset change to sales isn't a bad thing. Being a salesperson does not make me a slimy person. Part of that understanding helped me really dive into it and get a lot of reward out of it. At the same time, getting even better reviews from my clients because I was servicing them better. And so what I want to talk about here, what I did not know is that in many different languages, sales and service are literally the same word. Did you guys know that? So I checked it. You can Google it. Okay. And look how many different languages sales and service are literally the same word. Okay. So I want us to get the idea of me being a salesperson is a bad thing and a slimy thing. And I can't tell my friends and family that I'm a salesperson because that's how I felt my first couple of years in the business. I denied it with a passion that I was a salesperson. I was like, no, I don't sell my clients. I'm not like that. I just help them. Okay. And I still just help my clients, but I also have accepted that I'm a salesperson. I only get paid when something sells. Okay. It says it on my license. I am a salesperson. Now, instead of to me being sales is slimy, I've started thinking about it as selling is service. Okay. And so we'll touch on this right down here. Sales is service, literally. Because in other languages, the translation is the same. Sales and service, same word. Okay, so I just want us to get that icky feeling of if I'm reaching out to people, I'm doing a bad thing. Okay. One big thing that helps is what if when I'm doing my salesperson job and I'm doing my outbound lead generation to, my unpaid outbound lead generation, what if I could communicate in such a way that those prospects weren't upset that I reached out and they're actually happy that I reached out to them, even if they don't need my services? Would that kind of change how you guys feel about doing that prospecting? Would you maybe do it more if you almost never got cursed off the phone or hung up on in your intro? Do you think you might do it more? Yeah, I'm asking honestly, like if you could get past some of that resistance that you get in that upset feeling and that combativeness, do you like genuinely think you would do it more? Okay. So we'll cover some techniques on how to do that. First, I want to look at the math for your outbound lead generation business. Okay. So I'm going to talk specifically about cold calling. I prefer cold calling for my unpaid outbound versus door knocking. People get results from door knocking 100%. I don't like being outside all that much in the hot sun and stuff. And honestly, I can have so many more conversations in a day if I'm doing it over the phone. So that's kind of why I'm going to talk mostly about phone calls for your unpaid outbound. Is that okay? Okay. Here's what the numbers look like for a newbie. for your unpaid outbound lead generation. So 1 hour of making phone calls should lead on average to 7 conversations. Okay, so that's like a safe little benchmark to use. If I'm spending time cold calling or doing my outbound, I want to be at least getting right around 7 conversations every hour that I'm putting into it. If I'm getting too little, that's a sign that something might be going wrong with the phone number or the type of leads that I'm reaching out to. So I just want to call that out as a benchmark. You're looking for about 7 conversations an hour. The more you can get, the better.
Real quick,
Yep.
where are you starting to get your cold calls? Like, are you using a caller system or?
Yeah, so that's a
how are
great
you-
question.
How are you getting those numbers?
Yeah, so let me cover the way that anyone can do it, and then I'll tell you how I do it. So the way that anyone can do it is really through the MLS and Zillow. So through Zillow, you can find for rent by owner and for sale by owner, and they're gonna have a number right there that you can just call them right off your cell phone. For expired leads, you just use the MLS, and as a member of RAYAC, if you're a member of RAYAC, you have access to Forewarn for free. Okay, who's ever used their Forewarn before? Okay, perfect. So what you do, if you want to call expires, you're going to use the MLS, you're going to find all the expires in whatever your marketplace is. Now you actually have to go through every single one, double check that they haven't relisted yet, because you could get yourself in trouble going behind the sign. So you weed out all the mess, and then you're just going to take those owners' names and put them through Forewarn to get their numbers and call. Okay. Best practice there, I think, is use a spreadsheet. So when you get your list of expires and you've cleaned them out, export them onto a spreadsheet so I can keep notes and phone numbers as I'm getting them through Forewarn. Is everybody with me? Okay. Now, what I do is a little bit different. I do, like I said, it's basically free. I put a little bit of money into my outbound lead generation for systems that allow me to do a lot more each hour that I spend in my outbound. So best first place to start is get a dialer system like Mojo or Vulcan. Okay, Mojo is a triple line dialer, which allows me to call 3 people at once. So my contacts per hour go way up, because honestly, most of the people you call, they're not going to answer an unknown number. Okay. I like using Vulcan personally. It's a single line dialer, so it still only calls 1 person at a time. The reason I like Vulcan is it does a lot of that expired information, that expired data pool for me. So I don't have to go manually through the MLS. Okay. Is everyone with me? I'm using some technical terms here. Okay. So if you want to know more about those systems or direction on like what dialers to look into or stuff like that, just reach out to me and I'll give some direction there. But yeah, that's what we're doing. Yep. Yeah, okay, so we're starting here. So good benchmark. Every hour I'm spending, I want to try to get 7 conversations. For every 10 conversations I have, and it varies depending on the lead source, but we're just averaging. For every 10 conversations, I should generate a lead. Okay. Now it's important you don't get happy years, guys. Okay, agents are addicted to hopium. That's like our favorite thing. I hear someone on the phone and they give me like a maybe, and I'm like, oh yeah, you signed up for my 30-day contact plan. And the truth is, he was never even a lead in the first place because I didn't disqualify him. And now I'm wasting all my time over 30 days to reach out to someone who politely said, sure, call me, but he really didn't ever want to hear from me and he blocked my number. You get what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So that's where Rob was talking about. Disqualifying is super important. But here's your metric. Every 10 conversations should lead to about a lead. So a little over an hour of lead generation, you're getting a lead. For every 5 leads, for every 5 real leads that you generate, you should be able to set 1 appointment. Okay. I'm talking primarily sellers here, by the way, because this outbound is directed at getting you listings and not buyers. Okay, that's another benefit to this I should have mentioned, but this business model is for listings. We like listings. Okay, every 5 leads is equal to an appointment set. For every 2 appointments I set, I'm likely to get 1 appointment had. Okay, because there's a cancel rate, there's a fallout rate with these things. It's kind of like how I explain offers to my sellers. I tell them, Mr. Seller, if I start off with this many people seeing your house, I'm going to get this many tours. I might get this many people who like the house, which might get me this many offers. Okay, so there's a fallout rate throughout this. Okay, so we have an appointment. For every 2 appointments I have, I should be getting 1 of them signed. Okay, so we're talking a 50% conversion rate. Okay, who thinks that they sign more than 50% of the listings that they have? Good, good. So this I'm using as a basic baseline for someone who's just starting, these are some reasonable expectations. Your conversion is going to be much lower than people who have been doing it for a while or have a warm open with a seller already. These are cold leads, right?
How do you handle voicemails? Do you leave voicemails? Are you
Good
brief?
question. Yeah, so voicemails, I only leave voicemails when the person on their recording says their name and I know it's the right person. Because if I leave a voicemail for every single person, for me, I find that I'm spending too much time on those. So if I'm calling a Janine and they say Janine in the voice in the message, I'm definitely leaving her a voicemail. I might even text and follow up in regards to that voicemail because now I know it's that person. Because one struggle you're going to have is the data collection isn't perfect. You're going to have a couple numbers for a person, and guess what? Probably only one of them is right. So if I find what that right number is, I'm capitalizing on it with a voicemail, text, video text. So I'm going to send them a video of me introducing myself and all that. Okay. So
Are you putting these in your database every single time?
no. So if you're using a dialer, which I do recommend, it's going to function somewhat as an in-between CRM. So you can keep basic notes and stuff. And I only export someone over if I've actually qualified them as a lead. So if I've qualified someone has motivation, they've got a time frame outlined, I know that they're going to do it, and they were willing to give me like an extra point of contact, like their email, right? So if I can get all those things, I'm going to count them as a lead, and I'm putting them in my CRM at that point, and I'm going to commit to a follow-up plan. They don't check those things for what makes a lead. I'm not going to put my time into it.
Do you count a call, a text, and a video text as one, or is that three things?
So if you're doing those actually won't count as a conversation at all. And so you won't count it. That's your attempt to get in touch. And now when they respond to you and you can have a real conversation, tell them what the purpose was, find out, that's where you'll count that as a conversation. That's a great question. Okay. Any other questions? I love that. Those were good. Okay. So these numbers, the 1 hour for 7 conversations, 10 conversations per lead, 5 leads per appointment set, 2 appointments set per had, 2 appointments had per sign. Those are very low conversion numbers. It's very likely that after doing it, you're going to get those numbers way up. But even so, if you want to get 26 listings, and I'm talking only listings, so 26 sales that are just listings, it is only going to require 2.5 hours per day of lead generation, 6 days a week. Okay. Now, as a fun experiment, would we like to see what the dollar per hour comes out to on that?
Yep.
Okay. Give me what's the average price range? What's the number? 300. So if my average price range is 300,000, I'm going to multiply that by my 26 listings that I got. Okay, that's 7.8 million. And let's do that at an average commission of 3%. Let's say we're proving our worth to people. Okay, so that gives us a gross commission for the year, or gross commission income from this lead source alone of $234,000. Okay, so I'm gonna write that down, that number, so don't forget, 234,000. And now we're gonna figure out your dollar per hour. So 2.5 hours, 6 days a week, 52 weeks a year is 780.
You'd probably trim down the weeks because you're probably gonna take a vacation and hopefully.
Let's keep the math simple.
Okay, make the hourly rate figure.
Okay, so if you were to spend 2.5 hours a day, 6 days a week on your unpaid outbound, at the end of the year, you're making $234,000, and your dollar per hour for those 2.5 hours a day was $300. $300 every hour you spent doing that outbound lead generation. So, who is that an aha moment for? Like, did that make you go aha? Nobody? Nobody? Okay. But yeah. So it's really impactful, really impactful. So I said we're going to talk about some techniques to make this a little bit easier to do. So we're not getting cursed off the phone, so that we do it every day, so that we do get business, and so that we actually get better conversions, so that I'm not setting 2 appointments that happen. I'm having 80% of my appointments. And I'm not closing only 50% of them, I'm closing 75%. You know, so how do we get there? Let me go to my writer downers here. So we're gonna talk some techniques, some brass tacks. Okay. Next writer downer. The quantity and quality of your communication will dictate your income. Okay. The quantity and quality of your communication will dictate your income. Okay. And I'm actually going to go to the next writer downer. Discovering the truth is your main objective. Okay. Now that applies to everything probably in your whole life. Okay. Discovering the truth is my main objective in my relationship, you know, and whatever it is, the truth is always great, right? But especially on your sales call, discovering the truth is your main objective. And the reason I say that is these outbound sales calls would be really simple if I just got the truth every time. Who's ever called someone and that person told them, no, I have no interest in moving, thank you. And then you see their house is listed 6 months later. Who's ever had something like that happen? Raise your hand. Yeah, we all have, right? The problem there, I was not able to get to the truth with that prospect. Are you with me? For whatever reason, they didn't feel comfortable telling me, well, we've been mulling it around and we might list it in 6 months. Okay? So the quality of my communication was not such that I was able to discover the truth. Okay? Now here's what I'm getting at, guys. If I'm cold calling a prospect, they've never heard from me, never met from me, they have the connotation that salespeople are filthy, dirty people, they don't want to talk to you, I need to change how I communicate compared to all the other salespeople that they've heard from. Otherwise, I'm going to get the door in my face or the phone hung up on me. Is everybody with me? Okay. So we'll even touch on this one. Sales resistance is the only reason people quit unpaid outbound. So how do I avoid sales resistance? How do I discover the truth? And how do I increase the quality of my communication? So for me, what I found really handy is like I said, you cannot sound like the other salespeople who are calling these lead sources. Okay. So just to give you an example, you know, if it sounds anything like, you know, hi, this is so-and-so with such and such company. How are you doing today? Okay. I want you to pretend you just got that call. How sick do you feel in your stomach? That's a terrible call to get, right? You're like, dude, this guy doesn't care about my day, first of all, so I'm upset. And yeah, he's just bugging me. I know he's a salesperson off the rip, so I'm not even going to give him my time. Instead, what I've found a lot of success with is immediately saying the objection for the client. Okay, we're going to keep this as a theme. I want to say objections before they can say them, so that the power isn't, they don't have the power in saying the objection. And also, it just hurts my soul a little bit less when I call, because when I call, I'm going to say, hey, is that Bob?
Yes.
Bob, this is Lucas, and I'll be up front. I'm cold calling you out of the blue today. Don't be mad. I'm actually a local real estate agent. I just had a quick question, unless you'd rather I hang up.
No, that's fine. But
Easy. So that's actually my opener. I tell people.
That's a good one.
I've heard it. I sat in their office and I was like,
So
and you don't get hung up on.
now that's just one example. There's so many different more. I'll give you another.
Can you say that again? I think people need to write that down.
It's very rare. It's extremely rare that I don't get past and say, sure, you can ask me. It's like, if I had to guess, it's probably 1 out of every maybe 10 or 15. Majority of the people let me get past with that. Yeah. So you guys want to hear it again?
Yeah.
Okay.
Slowly.
Okay. So first thing, I like saying hi, or I say, hey, is that who? Hey, is that whoever? And I like that. So is that Patience? Okay. And I like that because it has a little bit of an air of familiarity in that opener. So I'm getting really technical with you guys. Okay. First thing is that name? Is that Kate? And I get the yes. Okay. So after they confirm I'm speaking with the right person, it's like, okay, hey, Kate, my name's Lucas. I'm reaching out to you out of the blue today. I'm sorry. I'm a local real estate agent. I just had a quick question, unless you'd rather I hang up. Okay, now what's important there, number one, they've never gotten a sales call that sounds like that. So it's very disarming. I'm not getting sales resistance right off the rip that I have to beat down the door to get through that sales resistance to find out the truth. Are they going to be a lead or not? I'm never going to know that if there's too much sales resistance. They're not going to tell me because they don't want to be sold by me. Okay, but if I tell them up front, I get it. Hey, I'm a shitty real estate agent. I'm calling you at 10 in the morning. I'm the last person you want to talk to, but I just had a quick question unless you'd rather I hang up. Okay, and I always give them the power to hang up because the truth is they have it anyways. So me telling them doesn't change anything. They could have hung up on me in the first place. But by me giving them the respect and acknowledging that fact, I've passed the baton to them and said, do you want to continue? And far more people will give you the yes versus me trying to force them into that conversation. Does that make sense?
That's great.
Okay, so we off the rip, changing how you do that is going to give you so much less like cursing you off the phone, this and that. Say it for them. Say, hey, I get it. I'm an annoying real estate agent and I'm calling you at 8 in the morning. I'm sorry, I just had a question unless you'd rather I hang up. Anything like that, okay? It's the actual words aren't important. What's important is that you understand the reason why in the practice and that you can put it into your own words, okay? So I want to call out what I'm doing because no one else does that. That's different, which is good. And I also want to give them the power. I want to pass the torch to them so they feel in control, so they feel comfortable having a conversation. Because if I'm in control, they don't trust me. They don't know me. Okay. We'll talk about this writer downer. People resist change. So advocate why they should not change. Okay. This is like one of the biggest unlocks for me in my sales career and lead generation career. I wanna say the objections for them. I want to tell them all the reasons why they should stay. Like, Mr. Seller, it's kind of hard to sell a house actually, and it can be very stressful. It's one of the most stressful things we do in our lives. Like, are you sure this is something you even want to do? Why not just stay? Your house is pretty good. Okay. And what you'll find is people do one of two things. When I give them the reason they should not change, either number one, they're going to agree with me and they're going to say, you know what, Lucas, you're right. It's really not that big a priority. We were just kind of considering it because of X, Y, Z, but we're really more likely to stay and put a deck on this house versus buying a new one for the deck. So that's to me, that's like music to my ears. I'm like, oh, thank God I figured out that this guy wasn't really a client before I put all the time in following up into him. Okay, so that's the first thing they're going to do. Or they might disagree with me. So I advocated why they should not change and why they should stay the same. And they're going to tell me all the reasons why they can't do that. They're going to be like, yeah, you got a point, Lucas, moving is stressful, but we actually really need to do this because we don't have kids anymore. It's too much house and we're starting to get older, you know? So you're by dishing the objection to them first and by advocating for why they should not change, they're actually going to come running towards you and push back for all the reasons why they should change. Are you with me? Versus the other way of doing this is I call up somebody and I tell them, you know, it's a great time in the market. Prices are up. Have you ever thought of selling? Oh, well, you know, it just doesn't work. It just doesn't work. So instead, I need to, the whole time on the phone, I'm pushing that lead away from me. Okay. And if people, like we said, they resist change, if I'm pushing on somebody and they're resisting change, which way are they pushing? Back to me, right? Now, if I'm pulling somebody and they're resisting change, where are they moving? Away from me, right? Okay, so people who resist change, advocate why they should not change and let them tell you all the reasons why they're a qualified lead. Yeah, and for me, not only, first thing is that's a great way of communicating. You're going to find that you get way less sales resistance. People are comfortable opening up to you and telling you the truth, not some fake thing, and then you see them sell later. You're going to find the truth. And then the other thing is it heals my soul a little bit when I'm making these calls. Because honestly, the mindset changes. I'm not looking to call people and convert them into a lead. I'm actually calling people and telling them everything why they should move, and I'm letting the people come to me. So I feel like the king. I'm sitting there at my desk and I'm just telling people like, hey, I saw your listing came off the market. I'm guessing you probably sold that on your own. You don't even need your real estate agent, right? And you know, I push them away and they're like, oh, no, we actually still have it. We didn't sell. Is that making sense, guys? Yep. Great line for expired calls. If you're calling expired listings, hit them with the, okay, so you guys are still going to sell in the future in a month or so. Now, I'm assuming your last agent, Christy, she did a great job. You guys are just going to sign with her again, aren't you? Oh, no. Yeah, what do you think that client's thinking at that point? Well, actually, no, Christy didn't really do a good job. We never really heard from her. So, no, we're not using Christy. And they'll tell you that. They'll tell you the truth. Versus if I just come in pushing for, hey, you guys should really interview multiple agents, I tell them all those things, they're gonna shy away and give me pushback. Okay? What we're doing here to get deep, this is a psychological technique. Okay, and what we're talking about are psychological reactants. Okay, a psychological reactant is when I call up a prospect and I sound like a salesperson, that they shut off right away. That's a psychological reactant to the way I was communicating with them. On the flip side, if I communicate not like a salesperson, I call out, that I'm an asshole for calling you in the morning. If I call out those things, the psychological reactant is to lower sales resistance. Another key thing here, one of the biggest biggest emotions we ever have. Sorry, Michael.
Steve, no.
See, he saw that. Ryan came and corrected me, right?
Oh, I did.
Oh, sorry, you were great.
No, but it was perfect. It was good. That right there is one of the strongest emotions we experience.
At 23.
It's 24.
He paid you to do that.
No, I'm so glad you
Maybe
did.
just did it.
Okay, so what are we doing? It's correcting. If someone says something wrong, my first thing is like, no, here's what's right. I got to tell you what's right because I know I'm right. I got to correct somebody. So by me telling that expired something that's definitely wrong, that your agent probably knocked it out of the water. I'm sure you're just going to list with them again, not even consider other realtors. What's the first thing they want to do? They want to correct me. No, my realtor was trash, And here's the thing, if they agree with me, thank God, I found the truth. I'm not, if they tell me, well, Lucas, yeah, actually, we just took it off because the timing wasn't right personally for us, and we love our agent, we are going to use him again. At that point, I just respect it. I'm like, hey,
You have one more line.
What is my line?
Yes, and even if Sally,
Oh, yeah, okay. Yeah, but yeah, at that point, I know who they are. Like, I've gotten to the truth, which is my main objective. I think if you change your mind when you're doing these unpaid outbound, that I'm a truth hunter and I want to communicate with people so that I get real answers and not a fake answer, you're going to do a lot better. So what Brock is saying there is like, even if they say, yeah, we are using Sally, we love her, I throw out the negative again. I throw out the objection. Okay, well, look, I get it. I'm sure she's so great that it wouldn't even matter if we're putting $8,000 a month into our marketing and sales and you genuinely thought that we would get you more out of that sale. It wouldn't even matter because you're so loyal to that seller or that agent, right? So I just put it onto them to correct me all the time. I say all the objections that they're going to tell me. I tell them, oh, so, Mr. Expired, okay, so you didn't sell your house. Well, I'm guessing you guys are probably just going to keep it then. A lot of people I speak to, they just decide we're going to keep it and never sell and die there. Okay. And they're like, well, we'll keep it for maybe a year or two, but we can't stay any longer than 5 years. Or they're going to tell you the truth that, yeah, Lucas, we're really not going to pick this up for a while. We're going to put a pool in the backyard. Okay, so any questions about that? Does that make sense, that way of communicating?
That's great.
Yeah, so that's why I'm saying that's why I wanted to underline the quality. It's not just quantity, super important. And there's a quality into quantity in and of itself, but the quality of your communication is super important and it is going to dictate your income. Okay. Yes.
How do you treat FSBOs?
FSBOs? So FSBOs, super important that you get to FSBOs first. And it's honestly a totally different conversation if you're the first person to speak to them versus if you're like the third or fifth. Okay, because by third or fifth, they've been getting very bad FSBO pitches and they are just absolutely mad that you called them in the first place because they know you're just asking to sell their house. Okay, so what I have found good luck with is trying to do the opposite of what every agent does off the rip. I tell them, Mr. Seller, look, I see that you're selling your house on your own, which I respect. It's a great market. It's a seller's market. I totally understand wanting to sell on your own and save on the commission. It's not the point of my call today. Is it okay if I get a little bit deeper with you? Okay. And my favorite thing with FSBOs, you got to understand the conversion for FSBOs because they're a long thing. Okay. It's like, I'm not going to cold call Steve and convince him to be a Democrat versus Republican over the phone first call. Okay. That's a change in worldview. And you're not going to get anywhere on your first call. If you think you are, like, good luck. It's very hard to do. And that's a worldview that seller has, that real estate agents are not worth the money and that they're going to do better for themselves listing on their own. Okay. So you got to play the long game. You got to have the understanding as an agent that The reality is only 11% of FSBOs actually sell on their own and are successful. Okay,
Dave Hook would always say about providing an item of value, not pushing for it. What if you said, hey, I'd like to give you a free piece of marketing that you can use to try to help sell your home?
it's beautiful. It's a beautiful pitch. That's usually how I pitch getting my marketing plan in front of the seller. I say, hey, can I give this to you as a for sale by owner backup plan? Because here's the truth. I don't think you're gonna have any trouble, because your house looks great. It seems like it's priced well, whatever. I don't think you're gonna have trouble. But the unfortunate truth is only 11% of for sale by owners are actually successful. And I just want to make sure that in the worst case scenario, if that was you, that at least you've got a good agent to fall back on versus getting stuck with a newbie who was just there at the right time in the right place. Is that okay, Mr.? Can I send you my for sale by owner backup plan? Maybe you can rip off some of the marketing and sell your house for more. So good way to get your stuff in front of them. And okay, so we were talking for sale by owner conversion. Understand that it's going to take a long time because they're going to have to face and hit that wall of not selling over and over. Some of them decide to keep it. Some of them really have to sell and then they do give up and use an agent. Okay, so I've got to be the agent who's been helping them and trying to help them sell on their own that whole time so that when they do give up, they're like, Lucas has already been working for me so hard, I gotta sign with him. All these other guys have just asked me to sell with them over and over, but Lucas has actually helped me.
What's the FSBO package?
So I call it my for sale by owner backup plan. That's what I call it. In reality, it's just my marketing guide. It's my seller's packet, and I send it to him, and I tell him if you look in the marketing there, you can rip off anything you want. But it's really just it's a packet that I've made for when I go on listing appointments that breaks down everything I do to market and the service that I provide for my clients. So that's what I'm sending them. Okay, now
do you find that works, and probably 90% of them won't do the work anyways?
Oh, none of them do it. None of them, because they don't even know how to. Yeah. So you, they don't know how to.
Right.
None of them do. Give them everything. I give them. We've even created a document that breaks down all the contingencies and timeframes in a sale. And I say, hey, have you ever sold a piece of real estate in Pennsylvania on your own before? Most of them is no. And then I can tell them, okay, well, here's something that I made for people like you. That way you don't get swindled by whatever realtor's on the other side. You know how the contract works. Would you like to see that? Free value add. Who else can do? Okay, now what I wanted to touch on in the conversations for sale by owners, one of the highest leverage things you can do is chop up on all the bad practices from other realtors who have called them and BS them, wasted their time, done bad pitches, whatever. So, big thing you'll get with for sale by owners is, well, if you got a buyer, I'm happy to pay a buyer agent commission. Why don't you come and see the house or, see if you got a buyer who would fit in and we could work together. Who's heard that before? It's common, very common, right? So what I'm going to tell that for sale by owner, instead of saying, I'd love to meet you, let's do it, and maybe I can match your house up with a buyer of mine. Let me take a look and I'll see if I can, match it. No, that's like, the truth is I'm meeting them because I want to try to list their house, right? So I want to, again, my objective is the truth. Okay, so instead, when I'm on the phone call and the FSBO pitches that to me, I'm going to tell them, Mr. For Sale by Owner, I respect that, and I really appreciate the invite to come see your house. I'm guessing other agents have probably done that for you and come out to preview your house, maybe for a buyer with a buyer. They're like, yeah, like did they actually show up with the buyer that they said they might have in mind, or no? It's like, oh no, okay, and let me guess, they probably ended up trying to pitch you on listing your house at some point when they met with you, and he's like, yeah, they did. Like, well, Mr. Seller, I don't want to be that person. I'm not going to lie to you and do that to you. Okay. If I have a buyer who meets what you're looking for, I'm going to send them to you. Don't worry. But I'm not going to waste your time and tell you that I'm doing something when I'm really doing something else. Okay. Now, the rapport I have with that seller compared to any other real estate agent who wasn't willing to say the honest truth to them, I'm kind of up on the notch probably, like sale by owner wise. Yeah, good question. Any other questions? Expired for sale by owner? Anything about that stuff?
I have a question.
Mm-hmm.
Have you dealt with somebody who you're giving them all this information? So now they're like picking your brain, they're wasting your time as they go through the process, but they haven't hired you. How do you deal with that?
Sale by owner?
Or yeah.
Expired. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, so
I even had a buyer once do this to me because he knew my family personally and he was buying the house he was renting. And I was like, okay, like I can only help you so much, but I ended up having to like save the whole fucking thing.
Yep.
And I get $0.
Well,
And he still fucking calls me. You
So-
guys can have it.
That could happen. What I'd say there is initially I get really excited about that. Like if the for sale by owner, the prospect is constantly reaching out to me for assistance. It takes a little bit of time, but it's free to give and it's in the hopes that it's going to help convert. But you do have to draw where the lines are. So where do I stop working for you and where do I start? Okay, because if you're going to ask me for an opinion on an offer or if you should take it or how to proceed in a sale, that's a fiduciary thing. And legally, I'm not doing my job if I tell you that I can represent you on those things, I'm not. Okay, so any other realtor that you reach out and ask, if they don't tell you exactly what I'm telling you right now, they're not doing their job the right way and they're doing a disservice to you. Okay, so you do at some point just have to put your foot down and say, if I were to start doing this, this is me working for you, and I can't do that until I'm actually working for you. You know, so and that's that kind of mindset. You have to, anytime you're meeting with people or converting your sales, you need to know where your limits are. So talking the next step, you know, we were just covering how to generate leads, maybe setting appointments, some techniques to use there, and you can use it for whatever pitch it is, you know. So I'm guessing, you know, even though you're moving next month, it probably wouldn't make any sense for us to meet now to start planning and game planning. That would be too soon for you, wouldn't it be? You know, and they're like, "Whoa, that sounds kind of good, actually. Would you be open to that?" You know, so you pitch the negative, let them come to you. Don't always chase them. It's kind of like dating, right? You know, right.
Here we go.
You gotta, look, you gotta lead funnel.
Start with an app.
Yeah. What was that?
I'm chasing too many.
So yes, okay, sorry. So I just remembered another thing. So I'm forgetting it now. Okay, let's move on. We gotta go. Maybe I'm taking too long. Should I wrap it up? Okay. All right. Okay, I'll cover this right or down. Different is not always better, but better is always different. Does that make sense? Definitionally, you cannot be better if you are not different. Okay, so let's try something here that's fun. Who would like to get a little uncomfortable for the group? Who's open?
I will.
Brock's up?
Yeah.
All right.
Everyone else is.
Brock, tell me, why should I work with you as your client?
Work with me.
Mhm.
Man, I'd have to show you.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Anyone else?
I've been in this part of the game for.
No, it's who would like to, can you take the first sell side? Either. Let's do sell side. Why should I work with you?
Sell side. I think mostly, and I don't know if it would be applicable for everyone here, but the team resources that we have and the fact that we spend, like you mentioned, $8,000 a month in marketing, and it just creates a huge ecosystem. So no matter really where you're at, we have a proven plan and system that gets the job done and gets results.
Lots of marketing, good service.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Can I ask you, if I'm your seller, why should I work with you?
I'd probably ask you.
Okay. Yeah,
That's good.
Kate, I'm your seller. Why should I work with you?
I like to say that I give the white glove delivery service.
Well, service. Okay. Bob, can I call on you? I'm your seller. Why should I work with you?
I want to know what you're about, what you want to do, what you're looking for.
Yep.
Where you want to go.
Okay, I like it. Ryan, I'm your seller. Why should I work with you?
Well, we only trying to think how I would put this. So we must be in alignment. We must have the same goals, the same strategy. If we're not in alignment, we may not be a good fit. So I'm not sure that we should be working together yet.
Yep.
Let's have a conversation, and then at the end we can determine how we're going to move forward.
Okay. So honestly, I'm pretty impressed actually, because you made it a tough example to make out of, because the thing is, a lot of times we say pretty much the same things. Like, well, Mr. Seller, I give the best service. It's a white glove service. I do the most marketing. I'm spending $8,000 a month on my marketing. But to the seller, like, this all sounds the same. Everybody is saying the same stuff. You know, these are all the reasons you should work with me, right? And so I am not different, and the seller has no way to know if I'm any better. because it's not any different. So that's the point I'm trying to make. Now, some of you guys did start to touch on it, but I think there's a way to do it even more impactfully and even more clearly. Okay, so Brock, you want to ask me why we should work together?
Why should we work together?
Well, to be honest with you, Brock, the truth is, I don't even know if we should yet. Okay, this is a phone call. We've never met in person. You don't even know what kind of marketing and service I do. You wouldn't be interested in us meeting at some point for 30 minutes to kind of cover that stuff, would you?
Yeah.
Yeah, right. So you want to hit them with something, bam, right in the face that they've never heard before. I'll cover one last one here. What's the first thing you say when someone asks you, what do you charge commission wise? First thing you say.
No.
Depends.
Depends. Okay. Raise your hand if you think, well, Mr. Whoever, they're negotiable, right? That's a common one. First thing you should say when someone gives you a commission objection or asks about commission is you want to establish some kind of authority as an expert who gets that question all the time, and it doesn't shake you because you know that you are worth the commission you charge. Okay. And in my opinion, one of the best ways to do that is if someone asks you, well, what do you charge? I tell them the very first thing. Thank you. That is a great question. I'm glad you asked it. Okay. Now that compared to, well, see, the thing is they're negotiable, or typically I charge, like this is all not coming from a strong leader who someone's going to want to sell their house, but saying, hey, thank you for bringing that up. That is a great question, and I'm glad you asked it. Here's what I charge, 3%. Okay. Now, I'm not the cheapest agent. I'll be the first to tell you that. There's plenty of other real estate agents who can charge you, will do the job for 2%, even 1%. You could even list it for a flat fee of a couple $100 on the MLS, Mr. Seller. But if what you're looking for is the agent who's going to give you the most value out of the commission you pay, I think it might make sense for us to have a conversation, at least. So, little commission objection. We're running out of time, so I'll touch on the reading list. So last year, these are not all the books that I read with the group, but these are the books that I think were the highest impact in the results that I got out of last year. So, and I even ordered them as to how you should read them. So if you've read any, you can just kind of skip it. But I would highly recommend you do this reading list. They are all very short and easy reads for the most part. Okay. Like some of the chapters, you can read them in like 3 minutes, a lot of these books. But the information in these books is worth millions and millions of dollars, like no joke. So I'll highlight KW book, The One Thing. It's killer. I think you should start with it. That was kind of our focus for today. Number 2, Chop Wood, Carry Water. This is like a sports psychology book, and it's about doing the dirty work every single day and how you fall in love with that as your process. So great read. Atomic Habits focuses on habit building and how to break bad habits. Killer as a real estate agent. It's an awesome book. Number 4, I'd highly recommend The Millionaire Real Estate Agent. So this is a KW book. This one is going to show you the pathway to actually becoming wealthy through real estate and not just being a slave to your real estate job. How do I run a real estate business versus working in a real estate job? It's 2 different things. 5, this is a fun one, The Richest Man in Babylon. Very fun, entertaining read, opens up your mind. Number 6, this is probably the highest impact one for you to read and use. What the heck is EOS? That's the title of the book. Okay. EOS stands for Entrepreneurial Operating Systems. People who learn how to do EOS sell their service to other businesses for $100,000 a pop to implement entrepreneurial operating systems found in that book. So it'll teach you how to structure your business like nothing else, like a machine. And then the last one I would say is How to Win Friends and Influence People. It's kind of like a longer thing for you to adopt, but I think the techniques in there with like the importance of people's names, just different personality things that are great, I think, as an agent, highly recommend. I think you could read all of these in 6 months, but give yourself a year. Read them. They're pretty short reads and easy reads too. All right. For those who want to stick, I won't be upset if you guys walk out because I know I'm going on long. So I want to talk about stacking. Okay. And actually, let me go to my writer down for stacking. So stacking is a big way as an agent that you're actually going to get clients to pick you out of other real estate agents. Okay, so if we're doing outbound, there's other agents who are attacking those leads and you got to be the best to get them. So how do we get them to pick us? Our last writer downer. New agents win by stacking. Old agents win by experience. The best do both. The best do both. Okay, now what I'm talking about when I say stacking, let me give you an example. This is the actual stack that I use after I've set an appointment with the seller. Okay. And when I say stack, these are all the things that I'm doing, and I'm stacking them on top of one another. So it should be an obvious choice for that seller to pick me, because I've stacked so many things on top of one another that no one else is doing. It's impossible for me to not stand out. Okay, and I'm doing this every step of the conversion funnel. I'm looking for ways that I can stack, because if I can use experience to win listings and stacking, I'll do better than if I did just one. So here's what I'm talking about. This is my stacking example. This is exactly what I do after I set an appointment with a listing appointment. So number one, I send them a video text. I take a video of myself. I say, hey, we just got off the phone. Thanks for the conversation. I'm looking forward to meeting you, XYZ, whatever. Okay, so they can see my face. Number two, I'm emailing them a resume. Okay, and guess what? I'm a professional. We're all real estate professionals. We should have a resume. If you don't have sales, your resume should be talking about what the brokerage and what your support looks like, and you weigh on those things. But you need a professional looking resume with your photo, color coordinated, not just typed out on like something real. Okay, real resume. Number three, I'm friending them on social media and I'm interacting with them. So I just got off the phone with a expired. I set my listing appointment. I'm going on Facebook and I'm finding them, and I'm going to like their most recent post or maybe give a little comment. Okay, why am I doing that? I want to feed them dopamine. I want to give that seller dopamine. So that way, when they see, oh, that's the guy I just spoke to, they're feeling happy about me. And when I meet them in person, it's a slightly warmer open than any realtors who didn't bother to go and find them on Facebook and friend them on Facebook. Does that make sense? Okay. So now you can kind of see how that stacking works. Compared to any real estate agent that didn't send a resume, I'm doing better. Compared to any that didn't friend them on Facebook or send them a video text, I'm doing better. This is the stack. Okay, going further. Number four, calendar invite and acceptance. So again, we are professionals. If I schedule an appointment with my dentist or my doctor or my tax guy, they all send me a calendar invite. As a real estate professional, anytime you meet with someone, even a scheduled phone call, I highly recommend putting it into a Google Calendar and send an invite and let them know that that invite is coming and that you want it accepted to book it on your end. Okay. You'll notice when setting listing appointments, the people who do go and accept your calendar invite, it's basically like assured that you're going to get that appointment. Okay, so it's like a little telltale. If they were willing to go in their email, like they promised me on the phone, and accept that invitation to book it in my calendar, it's like, okay, I got one on the hook. Last one, crumble cookie, thank you, same night. So this is something that I do personally. You don't have to do any of this. But when I set an appointment with the seller, I've done my duty of disqualifying the lead. I know that I feel confident that they're a real opportunity. Okay, at least I should if I did my job. And so because they're going to meet with me, I'm going to spend the 18, 20 bucks, whatever it is. I'm going to DoorDash them 4 crumble cookies. And here's the nice thing about that. Again. Here's the nice thing about that. With the DoorDash, I don't even tell them it's coming. I don't follow up with them to see if they've got it. Through DoorDash, you can send a digital thank you card. You can write out a message saying, hey, just wanted to say thanks for the opportunity. I'm looking forward to meeting you. - Lucas Delvaux, your realtor, whatever. And so when it gets delivered, they get a text from DoorDash saying, hey, you have a gift. And it has a digital gift card with a pretty little image that you fit, and then your message. Okay. I have not had a single seller, except, we won't talk about it. I have not had one seller reach out to me and say, oh my gosh, thank you so much for the cookies. I had a rough day at work, whatever, yada, yada. That meant a lot. And so after this 5-step stack for any of my listing appointments, like, what do you think the reaction is when I first walk through the door? It's a lot warmer than before I did any of that stuff. So I have a lot easier time establishing rapport, telling them why I think I'm the best and all that stuff. It works better when I have a warmer open because I stack. The reason I want to make a distinction here, and I made a distinction with the writer downer, new agents fall in the trap of only winning by stacking, because it's kind of all you have. As a newbie in the business, you can't fall in like your past sales or whatever. You got to stack to win. The problem with that though is if you never get out of only stacking and not building a real market expertise that you can then convey to sellers, you're gonna fall into the pony show trap. Okay, which is what we do not want. The pony show is where you meet with a seller and they say, all right, dance for me, mule. Show me what you got. Dance, dance, dance. And you show them, okay, I'll do this for you. I'll stack, here's all the things that I do for marketing, yada, yada, yada. And then they hit you at the very end with, okay, now what are you going to charge for me? Okay. All right, thanks for your time. We'll let you know. And then they bring in the next pony and they do a dance for them too. And so you're just competing there. You're turning it transactional for the seller where it's, okay, what all do I get and how cheap can I get it? Okay. And then if you play into that too much, you're going to lose to someone who's going to do a little bit more than you or someone who's willing to discount their commission cheaper. Okay. The only way you can get away from that is by also having the expertise conversation, knowing the market, knowing the numbers, and being able to communicate with the seller in a way that they believe that. So even if I do charge more, or even if I don't stack as much, they still want to pick me. Does that make sense? Okay. Do you guys want to see my listing appointment breakdown? It's not very long.
Yeah.
Yeah? Okay. All right. Listing appointment breakdown. I made this as a note mostly for some newer agents. If you're having trouble figuring out what your listing appointment should look like, these two ideas changed the game for me fundamentally with my listing appointment. So number one, we're going to have 3 checkpoints throughout the listing appointment. And I'm actually going to tell the seller what those checkpoints are. The goal here is I want to teach them how to hire me. How great would that be? How great would it be if I could teach a seller, here's all the things you should pay attention to when hiring a real estate agent, so that I'm teaching them why at the same time they should hire me. Are you guys with me? Okay, here's what those 3 checkpoints are. When I start a listing appointment with the seller, I'm saying, okay, Mr. Seller, obviously the point in us meeting today is we want to see if it makes sense for us to work together or not. Fair? Okay. In my experience, it really comes down to 3 things that we need clarity on. And if we can't get clarity, it doesn't make sense. If we do, it probably does make sense that we work together. Can I share that with you, Mr. Seller? They're like, yeah, of course. So those 3 things would be number one, what exactly am I offering to you, Mr. Seller? What is the service that I provide to my clients? Okay, what marketing and exposure do I do to get your house sold? And the caveat to that is, and that you agree that we are doing enough. Okay, because if you don't agree and you don't feel that I'm giving you the right exposure, conversation ends there. We can part ways as friends. That's the service I provide. If it's not for you, okay. Okay. If I do get agreements on that, the next thing is, what the heck do I charge, Mr. Seller, right? So you want to know what I do and what I charge, and does that make sense? If we get agreements on those 2 things, the last thing would just be pricing strategy. Can we get agreements on what pricing strategy is going to give you the most from the sale of this home? Okay, Mr. Seller, if we agree on all 3, would it make sense for us to talk about the next steps, do you think? Okay. And that's your bridge into presenting paperwork at the end of the sale. And you're going to use those checkpoints to get buy-in from the seller. So I'm going to follow that same checkpoint. When I finish my marketing plan, I'm asking, okay, so that's our marketing plan. Now, based on what you see, do you feel that there's anything missing there that's not going to get you the exposure you need to sell your house? They don't know what they don't know. So of course they're always going to say, well, no, that's more than I ever thought you guys even did. I didn't even know that. So I get buy-in that that's okay. The next thing I'm doing is covering commission. Okay, well, so if that looks good, here's what I charge. I charge 3% for all of that I do. Okay, does that seem in line with what you've seen? Is that fair? I get buy-in there. If they say, yeah, no, 3% for what you do seems fair. I had someone quote me at 2.5, but they're not doing as much as that, or whatever. You're going to have that conversation with them. Okay, so I get buy-in there. Now I know it makes sense for us to figure out pricing strategy. That's the last thing. And if I get agreements with them on pricing strategy, it's like, okay, Mr. Seller, is there any reason why we can't, talk about the next steps here? The next one are the 3 agreements. You also do this at the beginning of your appointment. Now, the purpose of the 3 agreements is I want to set a foundation with that prospect on how we're going to communicate with each other so that we can get the most out of that listing appointment. Okay. And the 3 agreements are, Mr. Seller, number one, if at any point in time during this meeting, if I feel that I'm not the right fit for you and genuinely I'm not the right agent, do I have your permission to tell you that and we can end it and part ways as friends there? And oh my gosh, what a trust building thing to tell to somebody. Like, do I have your permission to tell you if I don't think I'm the right fit? How many agents do you think say that to the seller? Like none. Yeah. Okay, so it's huge for trust. Second agreement that I want to come to, Mr. Seller. If at any point in time while we're meeting today, if I say something that I didn't explain well and it doesn't make sense, or you totally disagree with, I want you to promise me that you will tell me so that we can talk it out. Okay? Because one thing that sucks is if you're competing and that seller's interviewing like 5 or 10 different realtors, they're not going to give you a lot of time to objection handle. They just want to hear your spiel and get on to the next. So I want to get buy-in from them that if something doesn't make sense or they're not totally getting why I do something, that they'll bring it up to me so I can objection handle there on the spot. I don't want to have hidden objections at the end when I'm asking for paper. Does that make sense? I want to hit them as they come up. So I get buy-in from them. Mr. Seller, if what I'm saying doesn't make sense, you agree that you'll tell me. And the third agreement is by the end of this thing, if we didn't have any problems with thing 1 or thing 2, that we're open to talking about what the next steps will look like. Okay? And it's an easy yes for the seller. Yeah, if those things make sense for sure. But I'm gonna put you to the test first. Show me what you got. I think that's it, guys. I think that's it. That's all I got. Could I ask for just kind of like just shout it out, a rating 1 through 10, 10 being the best, 1 being the worst? 8. Sound good? 8?
Solid.
Yeah. 9, just so you come back and do it to get.
Yeah.
Yeah, nobody's perfect.
I'll brag for this too. He's going after like competing environments against heavy hitter listing agents in the Hanover area. And people with teams just like heavy hitters, and Lucas has pitched higher commission than what the other team is pitching.
And lower sales price.
And lower sales price, and has won on multiple occasions. So he's been throwing out commission numbers here, and I think that's the least amount that he's taken all year. Typically, it's north of that, and still getting them signed all year. So just rock star status.
Is that a couple of 4, 3.5 here and there?
What's your objection when people say, well, will you take less? Like, I
No.
like,
No.
I had someone I know him and he's like, oh, he was trying to get the least, and I was like, gonna like.
Yeah, so again,
Take
so
nothing.
what I mentioned earlier, anytime I'm having a client-facing interaction over the phone or in a meeting, the thing I'm doing right before I meet with my listing appointment is I'm reminding myself, where are my boundaries? So what, in reality, for this house, what is the least amount that I'd be willing to do it for? I know that number going into it. And what pricing strategy are they gonna have to fall into, or I'm not taking the listing? Because if they're over, I'm not doing that stuff. So I know if they're gonna, what fits my buy box or not, and if they don't, they just don't. So I think the first thing is just having clarity, because then you know really where your breaking point is, And if they're giving you lots of pushback and it's within your box, maybe you just have to take it and say, okay, it's still within my box, so I'm okay with that. If they're asking for something outside of my box, it's very easy because I'm just like I said earlier, look, if you're looking for the agent who's gonna represent you for the cheapest, like the lowest amount of money, it's just not me. We're not a good fit, and that's okay. Like I'm not the best fit for everybody. It'd be a narcissist that thinks so. Okay, the fact is I charge what I charge, and it doesn't work for everybody. But if you're looking for someone who you're getting the most value out of what you pay, I think it makes sense for us to have a conversation at least. Yeah, so that's usually my objection handler is the value versus the price. And if people don't see it, they don't see it. As long as I have a chance to go show them everything that I do and why I'm charging what I charge, I did my job. That's how I feel about it. Yeah.
What does your exit sound like that? Like, I'm assuming you walked out before.
So I almost did. I haven't had to yet. I haven't had to yet. So I met with the for sale by owner. Guy was like a jerk, a real jerk. And he was meeting with he's an engineer. So he's one of those types. Yeah, right? So yeah, Maryland, he's a guy from Frederick, engineer, has this like $700,000 house. And he lives on his own, never had a wife. Like, he's just one of these people, right? So very first thing, I come into the kitchen and he says, all right, what do you charge? And I said, charge 3%. He said, we can end it here because, yeah, I'm not paying that. I'm interviewing other people. We can end it here. I said, if that's how you feel, we can part ways as friends. That's okay. That's what I charge. He said, well, he ended up opening up and said, well, what could you do it for? What's the absolute best you could do it for? Because I will not pay 3%. Now I knew where my limit was.
You hadn't even sat down yet?
Hadn't even sat down. I hadn't even taken stuff out. That's who this guy was. Super confrontational, right? So I just told him that's how it was. And he said, all right, well, look, I'm not gonna pay 3%. Can you do anything better? And I knew that I wasn't gonna go under 2.5, but anywhere between 2.5 and 3, I would take that listing. So I just cut the shit. I said, all right, the lowest I could possibly do for you is 2.5. I will never go lower, is what I told him. He said, all right, let's continue. So then we kept talking. But it is what it is. If people want to pay what you're worth, don't spend your time on them. You know, that means you have a lead generation problem. If you're doing enough of your unpaid outbound and generating enough leads, it's not going to stress you as much that if a particular seller didn't fit that commission buy box. Because guess what? I'm generating so much business, it'd be unreasonable for me to assume they all do. You know, and it hurts my soul less when I get everything. Because I'm standing firm on what my rules are, and not everyone's gonna be a good fit for that, which is okay.
Heard on a podcast one time, and it changed the way I look at things, is that we are shit. I just pulled a you.
No, yeah, definitely when it does.
I'm gonna say one of my strategies with commission is I work a lot of sphere. Everybody wants a discount. So I always start high. Like, this is what I give everybody else. Then they feel, and I do give them a little bit, so they feel like they're getting more, but I'm also not selling myself short.
That's actually a great technique. I didn't touch on it, but I do the same thing.
Especially that broker fee, that's the easiest way to be able to pick up $100 and you're still.
The hero.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, I got it. So it was saying that you're brought in to represent, to negotiate for these people. In the very first test you have, you cannot even negotiate for your own pay.
Yeah, so if and that's the best. I love using that line. Now I don't like using it too early into a conversion because it is fairly used. Not all agents know it, but it is something that in a high competitive situation, like a bottom of funnel nice expire or something, they have a chance of hearing. So I do like saving that for when I get the call later and say, you know, Lucas, we like what you do, like we want to go with you, but can you do better on the commission? Okay, and one of the best things to say is, yeah, I appreciate the question, but before we dive into that, is this a test? And they're gonna go, what? No, no, it's not a test. I'm actually asking you. I'm like, oh, okay. Because I wanted to see if it was a test, because if you called me and the very first thing I did was discount my own income that my family lives off of, wouldn't that be a red flag? Wouldn't that be a red flag to you that behind closed doors, I'm not negotiating strong enough for your money? Yeah. Oh, Mr. Seller, you never thought about that? Well, that's why, Mr. Seller, respectfully, I'm gonna hold firm and no, I charge what I charge, and I believe that it's worth it. I genuinely believe it. Great one. Great.
I like it.
Well, see, it's a tough year so far, guys. It's a hard year, right? Come on. Yeah. Well, thank you, guys.
Thank you.
There's success right there. Okay.
So, like, you're always gonna get.
Right there it is. We got a. Talk later, man. Back in. Nice seeing you. Hold on.
Yeah, I even looked like I thought you were gone. I'm like, oh, no. Well, I wasn't being stuck out. There wasn't. I didn't see you. I didn't see you. I didn't.
Yeah, 3 years ago.
There's doing that from maybe 24 hours a day. The conference will chat like feel. It also know your market. Make sure maybe there's something direct. I know. Yeah. I totally agree. I can.
Thank you. Great presentation.
Really, thank you.
Great
Thank
presentation.
I'll come to that.
Yeah, yeah. Question. So isn't it creepy to like friend somebody you don't know?
Well,
Like,
so
like that's a generational. So
It is.
I'm asking because like,
Yeah.
for me, like if I've never met you and I'm gonna have like a listing presentation. To like start to like you on Facebook, I haven't even fucking met you. How do I know they're gonna like you? Why do I want?
I hear
Like,
you.
give me like the young person perspective and does it?
So the perspective on it, and it does work. It doesn't, not like things it's not. And you can just say step it out of your stack and still. Yeah.
That openly.
Well,
but, like
the
tell
thing
me
is,
why.
most people, they honestly, they're very used to getting this from Facebook because they have this info that they can see in their surrounding feature rates. So they can see like, it's not that shocking that people get a friend request from someone you don't recognize. Now, the thing
People
is,
just say no, because I'm like, I don't know.
well, and that's okay. That's okay. Like, they might tell you no.
Like.
And they might decline it without even realizing that it's you. But the point is, we just got off the phone talking together. We just heard from Lucas. They just got my text with the video and my resume, and now they're just seeing me at another place. They're just Facebook. They can see all of my stuff on my Facebook, which I want them to be able to see. The whole point is I want to like it because anytime someone likes or comments on my stuff, it gives me, it makes me, I like to see my likes going up and interaction makes me feel good as a person. So I just want to love on my sellers. I just want to tell them.
So you think that's because you're
It is.
viewing it as other- I'm thinking of it as like, why the hell would like I
People, friends on Facebook is like a very low barrier. Like I have, that's a, yeah.
It's like a generation thing. Like, you know.
Honestly, if you were to friend request when your clients were my age, you don't like it, they would love it. They would, they really would.
Because I so now on Facebook, because they're still like, you know, I'm not fucking doing this shit.
I hear you.
You know, so like, that's where I.
And my thing is, if they are, and it weirds them out, like they're just gonna cancel it. But like most people are gonna like that. They're gonna feel that you took the time out of your day to send them a friend request, and you like their most recent post. Like they're gonna be feeling.
So do you just go in and like friend them and then like something, or
Pretty
do
much.
you say like, hi, this is Lucas.
No.
You know, you don't.
So
do
if
anything
I were
like
to
that?
interact, it would only be if like, say they posted recently, like, say they just got married last week. I might not just like that. I might leave a little comment and say, hey, congrats guys. That's awesome. Right? So just a little sweet, I'm not advertising there. I'm just giving them a little bit of dopamine. I just want to like their post, or if there's something that I can comment that isn't weird, I'll just give them a little comment so that they say, oh, the realtor I just spoke to, cool. Like that's the reaction we're going to.
So from your perspective, that would be a positive. thing.
Yes.
Okay, I have to like, that's.
Totally.
You know.
Yep.
Yeah.
We're social now, right? Yeah.
We are.
Yeah.
You know, it's like. It's like how much like,
Correct. Yep.
you put out, how much do you not put out, like that's really challenging. I think,
I think that little like
how old are you?
24
Yeah, that would like
freak you out.
freak me the fuck out.
I hear you. I hear you.
Like,
Yep.
I've never heard any bad feedback. Let's put it that way.
Yep.
And no one's ever told me that was creepy that you did that. They
Yep.
honestly they never mentioned it. Yeah.
okay. So I just need to get over it. It's.
Yes.
Yeah. It's a you thing. Yes.
All right, I will try to like do that frequently.
And I'd say all within reason. Like if you don't want to go and like and everything, maybe just shoot them a friend request. And the reason that's not weird to people is you have a reason for doing it. If you were just out of nowhere, then it would be weird. But you just go to them and meet them at their residence at some point in the future. Like the weird thing, the invasive thing here is not the friend request. You get what I'm saying?
No, I don't.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. People don't care. You know, one way that I've grown,
Yeah.
one way that I've in my Facebook is I go through all the people that says like I might know them, And as long as we have 40 or more mutual contacts, I've had a friend list. And I just do that every day, and I've grown my friends from like 600 to like 3,000.
Impressed or?
How do you really know the 3,000?
It tells you.
No, I know that the stat, but how can you know them?
I don't.
Like, know them?
I don't. I friend request them because we share a certain amount of mutuals. So that means they're in somewhat the same spheres that I am. If they have 40 or more friends that I'm also in friends with, send them friend requests to see if they accept it. So I'm growing my audience on Facebook. That come through. Friends of friends. And it's not weird. And you want to know how quickly I went from 600 to 3,500? It was like 8 months. And so now when I post, I can get like 100 likes or something on my Facebook. And when new clients see my Facebook is kind of popping off a little bit versus I got 12 likes, they see 100 on there. They're like, oh, Lucas knows what he's doing, like a little bit more, you know?
Okay.
So, and it's not weird. It's just how it is. People friend each other on
Come on,
Facebook. It's like, it's what it's there
Lucas.
for in a way. That's how we look at it. That's just how I'm telling you.
To me, that's like that's like
Lucas.
very anxiety provoking.
You're right.
Much rather go on like a listing appointment and
I
sit in
love
your
the
living
community.
room than I would to like friend you.
Yeah. Don't have to.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right. I'll try it.
I would.
All right, I'll
Yep.
try it. All right, thank you very much.
You got
Appreciate
it. You got
Hey,
it.
Lucas.
Hey, Bashira.
Hi, sweetie. I need a favor.
What's that?
I need a favor.
Uh-oh.
Can you take pictures of the board? Because on Zoom, we can't see it. Can you
You're
take
so
pictures
right,
and-
Bushira. Yes.
And
Yes.
text it or email it to me?
Yeah, guys viewing, I'm so
See it.
sorry about that.
Not your fault. I'm here in Kalahari
Oh, rock and
with
roll.
my daughter and grandchildren. Yeah, a little small getaway. It's nice here though.
Yeah, I went there one time when I was younger. It's fun out there.
Yeah,
water
the kids
park.
love it.
Okay,
You know,
I
and
got
I-
pictures of the board. I'll put them on Facebook so that everyone can see them.
Okay, great. Thanks, Lucas, and awesome job once again.
Thanks, Bushira. Thank you so much.
You're amazing.
Oh, you're the best. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Enjoy the rest of your day.
Thank you too. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, sir.
Thanks, Bob. Thanks for
Yeah.
coming.
Hey, wouldn't miss this. So when you do like your marketing presentation or what do you include? I mean, how?
I just revamped it actually, and I include even more than I used to.
Wow.
So, yeah, I wonder if I could show you an example. Just give you a baseline. So now I cover first the brokerage, and then I cover my team, and then I cover me.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of going from least relevant to most relevant.
Yep.
But it's that stack. So I'm getting all this stuff in front of them. Then I'm going into the reasons, because I am on a team, kind of between a team and not a team. I kind of
Yep.
explain that. Then I go into the marketing and exposure, and I list out every single thing we do. So like we do cold calling, we do mailers, we do Google ads, we do different kind of signage things. So any little thing that I'm doing to try to incentivize buyers to get in touch with us,
Mhm.
I'm telling them about it. And then at the end of all that list, that's where I'm going, okay, now this is all the marketing I do, Mr. Seller. Do you feel anything is missing that we would need to sell your house? And the answer, of course, is no. So then I can say, okay, so if nothing's missing, does that look good? Can we talk about how much it costs now? And then I get agreements on what I'm doing, how much it costs. If those make sense, then we get agreements on the pricing strategy. And then if those three make sense, it's working time.
Yeah. Huh. Okay, because I was always wondering, people talk about marketing the listing, and what are they doing?
Yeah.
How are they doing?
Okay.
I mean, besides MLS, social media.
Besides the 3 Ps, what I call it putting a sign in the yard. You put it on the MLS, and then you pray someone comes and buys it.
Oh yeah, okay, yeah.
Besides the 3 Ps, so I actually, using the dialer and that cold calling stuff, I actually cold call about 100 of their neighbors, and I tell them, look, I'm not trying to convince Sally down the street to buy your house, but she might know a cousin or
Right.
so, and I tell them, believe it or not, because it's the truth, we have sold a house through that method alone. We found a buyer.
Mhm.
Same reason I'm going to postcard your nearest 100 neighbors. They might know someone who's looking. Some other things I do is Facebook ads,
Mhm.
Instagram ads. I tell them about the sign that we use and why it's important that we use this kind of sign, and we have these call numbers on there. And we have a marketing director too that we hired, so that's like a nice little selling thing. I get to say, look, I don't know how to do ads on Facebook, but I pay a guy to do it because that's his field.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I can't be an expert at real estate and an expert at advertising.
Right.
So, yeah, those are some other stuffs. Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Interesting. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Well, thank you, sir.
My pleasure.
Much appreciated. I'll be hitting you up.
Yes, sir. Anytime. Anytime.